Stakeholders at the Joy Business Oil and Gas Town Hall meeting have called for a review of aspects of the Petroleum Revenue Management Law, which governs allocation of oil revenue to the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC. This was part of considerations at the Joy Business Town Hall meeting on oil and gas, 10 years since Ghana started the commercial production of oil. We'll bring you that story in a moment. But let's turn to gas, because Ghana Gas Company Limited is set to commence transport of first gas from their turbo gas processing plant to the car power ship by October 31 this year. The communications director of the company, NSO Bempa, made this known at a press conference over the weekend in Takoradi.
If everything goes on well, as I said, by 31st of October, we'll push our first gas into. So basically, that's the main reason. 60 to 80 million cubic feet of gas, or 90 million cubic feet of gas daily. And I mean, that one, if everything goes on well and then we are well complete, we can deliver about 450 megawatts or 470 megawatts of electricity for the people of Ghana. So far, like I said, we are almost 98% complete. But the reason why we were expected to push the gas into the car power ship over the weekend, but unfortunately, because we needed to be 100% sure, we needed to do the commissioning and testing of the pipelines to ensure that everything is on point. I'm repeating, everything is on point before we go ahead and then push the gas in there. God being so good, by 31st, gas will be pushed into the gas pipeline, the car power ship, for us to get 470 megawatts. So as and when we receive more gas from, don't forget that we've expanded our facility at the Takoradi Regulatory and Metering Station from 105 to 405 million cubic feet of gas. So, I mean, I'm sure some of you are conversant the fact that if they want more gas, we can flow more gas. But we look at the gauge, because the target is to do 450 megawatts and 470 megawatts. So we are looking at 90 million cubic feet daily, and it can reduce depending on the pressure or how much they need, depending on the circulation and all that. So the engineers will have to time and give us what they have and give us up to speed what they want to see.
Now, the Upper West Regional Director of the Environmental Protection Agency, Zainabu Wasai King, has stated that Ghana has phased out about 99% of ozone-depleting chemicals in refrigerators, freezers, air conditioners, and many other products in compliance with the Montreal Protocol. She said since the protocol came into effect, several strategies have been put in place by government to prevent depletion of the ozone layer. Zainabu Wasai King made the statement in a speech read on her behalf by the Upper West Programs Officer of the EPA, Anastasia Blankson, during the celebration of the International Day of the Ozone Layer in WA.
The 2019 International Day for the Preservation of the Ozone Layer was celebrated under the theme 32 Years and Healing. Selected students from some second cycle institutions in the Upper West region were brought together to broaden their horizon through education in line with creating awareness about how fast the ozone layer is getting depleted. Upper West Regional Director of the Environmental Protection Agency, Zainabu Wasai King, in a speech read on her behalf by Anastasia Comfort Blankson, noted that the Montreal Protocol has largely been successful, as it has led to the phasing out of 99% of ozone layer depletion chemicals in refrigerators, air conditioners, and many other products.
The theme 32 Years and Healing celebrates over 3 decades of remarkable international cooperation to protect the ozone layer and the climate under the Montreal Protocol. Similarly, our country celebrates the day as a renewed expression of solidarity with the international community to create awareness on the adverse impacts of the ozone layer depletion. The theme reminds us all that we must keep up the momentum to ensure healthy people and a healthy planet. The Montreal Protocol, being so far highly successful, has led to the phase-out of 99% of ozone-depleting chemicals in refrigerators, air conditioners, and many other products.
Head of Energy Resources, Climate Change and Ozone, Emmanuel Osei-Konsah stated that in adherence to the Montreal Protocol, a ban on the importation of used refrigerators, freezers, air conditioners was placed.
We have also banned the use of the importation of used refrigerators in collaboration with Energy Commission, LI 1932. So it is a prohibited item to be imported into the country. You may once in a while see a few seeping through, but that is human nature. We're still trying to ensure that the LI is enforced in partnership with our other institutions like GRA Division of Customs as well as Energy Commission.
Emmanuel Osei-Konsah also spoke of the star rating policy of the government on refrigerators, which he said has made significant impact.
A number of refrigerators that were running on CFCs were converted during the time that we were facing our CFCs. I can talk of well over 50,000 units which were converted. We gave special training to the workshop owners. We taught them how they could do the conversion, and then we motivated them by giving them a little token when they convert each unit that was previously running on CFC. So by and large, we have finished the use of CFCs in the country, and mostly for refrigerators and freezers, most of them now are running on hydrocarbon R600A, which is a win-win situation for climate as well as economics.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam.
That's correct.
Now, the Investment Promotion Center boss, Yofi Grant, is making a strong case for the country to fast-track reforms aimed at improving the business environment. This after Ghana slipped by 4 places to 118 in the latest World Bank Ease of Doing Business report. The rankings reviewed how 190 countries have improved the environment to support the growth of businesses. In Africa, Ghana came behind countries like Togo and Ivory Coast to rank 8th. Mr. Grant tells Joy Business the development shows that other countries in the region are catching up when it comes to best practices for business.
A lot of investors use that as a sort of barometer to test, okay, what are you doing right, what are you not doing right? Because the ease of doing business measures, I think, is it 14 different parameters, and of which, you know, they seek to see which country is reforming the best in those areas and who is not. Excuse me. And so we set out maybe 3 years or more. In fact, there was a time when Ghana was the fastest reformer in the world, some years back. But we seem to have slipped back a bit. And this year's comes as a bit of, it's not a shock, but I guess it's a bit of a wake-up call again to say that although we are one of the fastest growing economies in the world, we've actually slipped back 4 places on the ease of doing business. What it means is that either some of our peer countries are reforming much faster than we are, or we are not reforming as fast as we should. And simply that.
As a chief investment promoter, for you, some would say that doesn't make your work more difficult, more challenging, because this is an independent body recognized globally. This is not a company, a bank somewhere that you might raise questions about the modality. This is an internationally accepted practice where everyone uses. And therefore, does it make your work more difficult in convincing capital flow, even from people within to certain sectors of the economy, and even those outside, to bring their capital in?
Well, I wouldn't say it makes it more difficult. It makes it more challenging. And I say challenging because 2 of the countries that are ranked above us are our peers, Togo and Cote d'Ivoire. And what it tells me is that they are reforming faster than we are, or they are doing something more attractive to the business sector than we are. And for me, that is a bit worrying, though, because foreign attraction of direct investment and business is competitive. Even Ghanaians would move to a country where it's much easier to do business. It's not just necessarily for foreign direct investors, it's for businesses. So you want to create an environment, especially when you have competitive advantage, you have to capitalize on that to make yourself more attractive.
You're watching Business Live. We want to turn to our top story tonight. Stakeholders at the Joy Business Oil and Gas Town Hall meeting have called for a review of aspects of the Petroleum Revenue Management Law, which governs allocation of oil revenue to the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation. This was part of considerations at the Town Hall meeting 10 years since Ghana started the commercial production of oil.
The call for the review of the Petroleum Revenue Management Law, according to several stakeholders present at the Town Hall meeting, had become paramount because the GNPC continues to invest petroleum revenue outside of its core mandate. It is also because the law as it stands now allows government to invest oil money thinly on major projects. The stakeholders say a review will ensure proper management of funds held in the Petroleum Holding Fund at the Bank of Ghana. Delivering the keynote address at the just-ended town hall meeting organized by Joy Business and the Media Foundation of West Africa, head of programs at the Institute of Fiscal Studies, Nicholas Ekodihir, advocated proper investment of the fund.
However, there's a more fundamental issue, which is that the law itself, although the law is what says we should set up an investment advisory committee, the law itself undercuts and undermines the role of the investment advisory committee by prohibiting the investment into certain areas. So the law prescribes a very narrow range of qualifying instruments.
But a ranking member of the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament, Mr. Adamuta Wakilu, who also advocated a review of the law, thinks the allocation to the annual budget funding amount, APFA, should be looked at critically.
GNPC is not an operator. The only place where GNPC was supposed to be an operator is the AGM block, where GNPC was to set up a special purpose vehicle, which we call the SPLOCO, and they had to take some shares. And in that agreement, they were to be joint operators. That is where the meat is.
On his part, Executive Director for the Africa Center for Energy Policy, Ben Boachi, explained the impact a review will have on investment for the oil and gas sector.
We must be careful not to lock ourselves into lawmaking mode and forget that, the laws are supposed to achieve a certain end. So if you take GNPC's conversation, for example, some of the laws that we are making, whether it's Revenue Management or Petroleum Exploration and Production Act, they all have implication for GNPC. So you may not have a direct new law for GNPC, but they are regulated by all these new laws that are being put in place.
Deputy Energy Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, however, says there is no need for a review of any law. He believes the law, as it stands now, is appropriate and only requires proper implementation.
So you don't necessarily need to review the Petroleum Revenue Management Act to put sanctions in. All we need to do is to use existing regulations and laws that would also have sanctions for management of the resources, and especially the finances of this country.
The Joy Business Town Hall meeting on the oil and gas sector comes at a time when indigenous oil firm Springfield will begin historic oil drilling in its Deepwater West Cape 3 Point, Block 2 in the Western region.
And discussions there centered on how we can efficiently utilize our oil revenue. Well, let's hear next from the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, which is calling for sanctions against people who misuse oil funds. Let's hear from the chairman of PIAC, that is Dr. Steve Mantia.
Through the establishment of that additional public oversight body, Ghanaians are getting to know how the resource and the revenue derived from it are being managed in their name. We see a lot of abuses in the use of the petroleum revenues law that going forward, I think What we need to do is to focus on how we made that critical, necessary transition from the disclosures, from the transparency arrangements to accountability. Disappointingly, you find that the Petroleum Revenue Management Act, which is the statute of establishment for PIAC, does not provide sanctions for infractions of the Act. And so that in itself does not serve as an incentive for people to comply with the Act. Going forward, we want to see a review of the PRMA to provide for sanctions for infractions of the Act.
In other news tonight, the National Insurance Commission, NIC, is raising concerns over the implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, suggesting insurers could be shortchanged. According to the Deputy Commissioner of Insurance, Michael Andor, insurers, if not well capitalized, stand the risk of losing premiums to other countries. He spoke at the Ghana Insurers Association investiture and swearing-in with saw Aretha Doku re-elected as president of the association. Bismarck Ausa has more.
Under the Continental Free Trade Deal, the Trade in Services Protocol allows for mutual license recognition of all countries to insure lives and properties within member countries. It is against this background that Deputy Insurance Commissioner Michael Andor has urged insurers to re-strategize ahead of implementation of the agreement.
Countries in South Africa, Kenya can sit in their countries and write business here. Of course, it's not a one-way traffic. Our companies can also sit here and write business in Rwanda and South Africa if they have signed. So it has a lot of advantages, but it has threats and challenges. And we can't just sit down and say it's a good thing. We have to make it good for ourselves. You need a lot of capital to go overseas and do business. They need to have a lot of good risk management and corporate governance. That is important. They need to have good marketing strategies. They need to have customers around in those countries who they can follow up and do business with.
The Ghana Insurers Association investiture and swearing-in saw the inauguration of new board members of the association led by Aretha Doku, who was re-elected as president.
Technology is another area that the GIA had embraced during the term, but we're going to continue. We're going to ensure that our members embrace technology, innovatively, to also try and improve insurance penetration and also build public confidence.
President of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Nana Dr. Apieje Danka, was the first, who was chairman for the occasion, challenged the NIC to protect indigenous companies in its quest to clean up the sector.
The Japanese observed this in about 1925, and the meaning is improvement. So how do we improve? So in my small interpretation, I say the maximum utilization of the limited resource that we have. And so how do we improve on that?
Aretha Doku is the 10th president of the GIA. Bismarck Ausa, Joy Business.
Well, today, aggrieved customers of Men's Gold massed up at the premises of the gold dealership firm in parts of Accra and Kumasi to validate their documents for onward payment of locked-up funds. Now, customers are highly expectant final payments could be done by the end of December. My colleague at Love Business, Prince Apia, visited two centers for the validation exercise, and he reports there were long queues.
In two places, here at Edum and Bremai, also in Ashanti region. Now what is happening here this morning is that the agent have been asked to go through the process first, then the rest of the people continue with the process. So early in the morning, what happens is that all the customers came, put down their names, and after writing down their names, they are being called one after the other to undergo the process there. There are a number of people here who are currently putting together their document requisites to undergo the process, waiting for their turn to go through what has become the validation process to try and access their funds. It's been a very smooth process here in Kumasi. I must say most of the customers are very expectant of the fact that this is the first time the processes of accessing their locked up investment has gotten this far.
The photocopies and my voter ID photocopy, that's all. Yeah, afterwards you sign, you write your name and you write the number. your men's gold number, then you sign. Well, I think maybe they want to pay the money. That's why they are doing the validation, because they haven't done this before. I wish they could pay maybe before the end of the year. Yeah.
Oh, my expectation is at the moment we do the validation. After validation, I need my money. The next thing is the money we want. That's why we are here. We are here because of the money. Okay, I'm worried because of my family, everybody. Because I have a family, I have a children, wife. All of them are suffering. We are suffering. You know much about this issue happened in Ghana here. You see, I'm not happy because I'm here since morning. Even validation. I was here in the morning around 9 o'clock. I leave house around 6:30 because of the traffic. I was here around 9, but we are still here. My number is 129 before. So you see, we are worried. Everybody is worried here.
I should say that the customers who have gathered here are very expectant of the fact that now the process has gotten to this point. Before, there was agitation after agitation and demonstration after demonstration. They are happy that at this point they have been asked to bring their documents to undergo a process with the expectation that their monies are going to be paid to them anytime soon. My name is Prince Apia, reporting from Kumasi.
Also tonight, trainees under the Youth in Afforestation module with the Ghana Forestry Commission say they will soon petition the Finance Minister over unpaid allowance. The development follows reports of similar agitation by the beneficiaries in other parts of the country. Earlier this year, they say management is there to attend to their grievances.
The angry youth who thronged the premises of Multimedia Group this afternoon lamented what they described as unfair treatment as they are yet to receive their monies accruing over 8 months. In March this year, members of the same group in the Eastern region demonstrated over the same problem, and in August, the trainees in the Ashanti region over similar concerns. To seek solution to the concerns, the group says it will petition the Finance Minister over the matter as authorities have failed to resolve the situation. Bismarck Tete spoke for the group.
What Sir John told us some time ago was that he has been to, he's always with the Finance Minister. He has done his utmost best. He has pulled the string and now there is nothing coming. So now we have to take our destiny into our own hands and then fight for our money. And he told us that if we are not able to do this, then we, youth in our forestation, we are cowards. And so we are here this morning sending the signal to them that we are not cowards. That is why we are starting with this new we are going to Finance Ministry.
Although in January 2019, Chief Executive of the Forestry Commission, Kwejo Owusu-Efriye, assured the trainees payment of their monies, they yet to receive full payments.
And that's Business Live tonight. Thanks for watching. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. More on that story, we have been reporting about Ghana Gas commencing supply of gas to Kapa ship from October 30. You want to read all of that on myjoyonline.com/business.